If you've ever put up a rifle for sale online and you're offered some ridiculous deal that you had to turn down, go and hit the subscribe button. For me, somebody offered me a equivalent amount of silverware for a handgun, and I declined because that's crazy. Like, comment, all that stuff helps me out quite a bit. Comment section is out of control. You guys do you. If you guys are looking to support the channel, Alonzo Defense Group, send those t-shirts that shows that you are maybe afraid of girls, but definitely not afraid of guns. Go in there, get them. We also have belts. Those restock every Friday. Discount code for the belts is Grand Thumb. Discount code does not work for the t-shirts. Sorry. If you are instead looking to train and get some ammo, look for Freedom Munitions. Discount code Grand Thumb, no spaces, and they'll get you ammo. If for whatever reason they're sold out, brand new one, LAX ammo as well, and you can get ammo from there. Same discount code, so you have a choice now. All right, with those things out of the way, let's talk. Everybody's been requesting this for quite a while. We're finally going to talk about an FAL. We have a 308 battle rifle. This is the DS Arms OSW, which stands for Operations Specialist Weapon. Now, full disclosure, as we always do, I wanted this. I've been kind of lusting after this for a while, so I specifically contacted DS Arms in order to get my hands on one. Why did I want it? Well, when I was playing Ghost Recon, one of the guys had it and I thought it was really freaking cool, so I wanted to try it out in real life, and here we are. Now, the ammunition was provided by AIM Surplus. They do have some really cool Surplus 308, so get in there, get ammo from them, no discount code. But anyhow, full disclosure as far as my relationship with those companies, nothing else except for the ammo and the gun from them. But just want to let you guys know so you know precisely what's going on. So with those things out of the way, let's talk a little bit about this. Now, I'm not here to talk about the FAL. I'll be doing a review specific to the FAL at some point, like a just good old kind of Rhodesian style one. Today we're going to be talking mostly about this configuration, the OSW. So realize that some things I say about this are not going to be applicable to the FAL. So just kind of make sure that those two are separated in your mind to some extent or another. And I said that thing again. So first off, a little bit about this. This is a 7.62 by 5.1/308 caliber battle rifle. It feeds from a 20 round box magazine or a 30, or it can have a 50 drum or 10 round magazines, but typically 20 is what works best. It is gas operated. It's a short stroke spring loaded piston, and it has a adjustable gas piston. So with those things out of the way, let's do my favorite thing. Let's talk about the pros and cons, and let's kind of work our way down the gun and talk about everything about it. So, starting at the very tip of this gun right here, we have the muzzle device. This one is from DS Arms. I like to call it the little muzzle device that tried really hard because it's trying to control a 308 fireball from an 11-inch barrel. So with that being said, it doesn't do that great of a job. It's pretty blinding at night, and even during the day you're seeing some pretty ridiculous flash. Now, the one good thing that it does do is it does direct all the concussion forward, and it directs that recoil back in your shoulder. So it does work very well in that respect. Just don't expect it to really tame the fireball. I mean, there's not much that you can really do about that. It is a short-barreled 308 pistol. It is a pistol. So keep that in mind. Moving down to the barrel. The barrel is 11 inches, button rifling. It is 4140 steel. As far as accuracy and all that kind of stuff that we're seeing from it, a lot of people think that a shorter barrel means less accuracy. It's not true specifically. You definitely have a lot less velocity, and because of that, your range is going to be somewhat, your range is going to suffer. Now, as far as accuracy goes, realize that I am using an RMR, so because of that, my accuracy isn't stellar. You know, if I had a magnified optic, I'm sure I could do a lot better. I'm looking at a round with, you know, good match ammo and that type of thing. Getting between 1.5 to 2.5 with battle, you know, just good old surplus stuff like I got from AIM. I'm looking at around 2.5 to 3 MOA. So, you know, it's not like amazing, but considering the optic and all that kind of stuff, I think it could probably do better. So it is plenty accurate for me. I'll probably be doing more on the accuracy from a short-barreled FAL at some point in the future, but for my purposes and everything that I've done, this is more than adequate given its purposes, because I'm not shooting this thing much past 200-300 meters. All right, so barrel, awesome. Going up to the gas block, it is adjustable. So what's cool about that is that depending on the type of ammo that I use, or if I'm using a suppressor or that type of thing, I can regulate the amount of gas that's bleeding off from the barrel. So because of that, I don't have to have all that excess gas making for a stronger recoil impulse. So I can kind of tune it to each type of ammo. It's pretty cool. It's very easy to use. You can see right here, I'm just kind of adjusting it right now. You can get it to whatever you want. So if the gun's getting really fouled up and really muddy, you can just, close that thing up, get all that gas to get into that piston and really drive that thing pretty hard, and that works pretty well. So I do like that design quite a bit. Moving back to the rail. So this rail is made by DS Arms. It is heavy, of course. It's a Picatinny rail, and you have a little bit more weight, but this thing is pretty solid. So in fact, this entire rifle is pretty solid. So I've said it before, there are certain rifles that you can just kind of beat people to death with, and like an AR-15, maybe you're probably going to damage it, but like I truly feel that I could probably just swing this like a baseball bat and probably kill somebody with it. I don't know, these thoughts don't occur in my head most of the time, but it's something that you just kind of get from holding this rifle because it is heavy. It is around 9 pounds unloaded. When you load it, you're getting a lot more, and then of course adding lights and that type of stuff, you're adding a lot of weight to the system. So it is heavy. The Picatinny rail on this is very sturdy. I've used IR laser on it. I didn't have any loss of zero or anything like that over the around 3,000 rounds or so that I've fired. So that's something to be said there. So moving back from that rail system, let's move into the receiver top. So the receiver top is designed in such a way that when you field strip the weapon, you don't have to take the receiver top cover off. Because of that, you don't have any problems with like zero and that type of thing. So it's been very sturdy for me with the RMR mounted. Of course, I'm not shooting super precision, but it's working pretty well. Now, let's get into a little bit of the controls on this. So on the left side is the charging handle. So it is a folding charging handle, as you can see right here. So you simply pop it out, and then you can actuate it from there. So some people have had trouble with the folding charging handle where they're trying to clear a malfunction and it's kind of hard for them to grab it and that type of thing. I don't think it's so much an issue, but I understand why some people kind of mentioned it. I want to throw it out there. It hasn't been a problem for me, but everybody's going to be different. So just let you guys be aware of that and that type of thing. All right, the magazine. So the magazine locks in like an AK mag. So the way you release it is a little paddle right here, and that allows you to rock it out, put it back in. You have a bolt release because it is bolt hold open on last round on the left side with the magazine, so that once you load it in, you can simply drop that bolt and you're good to go. Now, as far as reloads are concerned, what I typically do is I'll use the opposite, another magazine. So I'll draw that magazine out once I'm at bolt lock, and I'll use that magazine to then knock the other magazine out, rock the new one in, and then I'll drop the bolt. There are, of course, multiple ways to do this. Some people use their thumb and they rock that in. But again, just find what works for you. But wanted to kind of give you guys kind of a short idea of a couple things I do. Just pretty similar to an AK reload, except you don't have to do the reach around because you got the bolt drop right there. Good old FAL technology. The bolt on this particular design has the sand cuts. It's supposed to make it more reliable. I haven't been working this so much in a really dusty, sandy environment, mostly in cold and muddy and that type of thing, but I haven't had any trouble with this thing jamming. Now, what I do want to say is that I have had some trouble with it. So when I first received it, I managed to break the extractor in about the first 90 rounds. I know that seems like kind of a big deal, so let's talk about it for a little bit. So I was running this gun pretty hard. First 90 rounds, broke it. Went through the just regular customer service. They were super cool, but they sent me the replacement extractor with a little tool to pull it out. Super easy. Got it replaced. I've run this current extractor for around, the other 2,910 rounds or so. So it's worked fairly well. So what does that show us? Well, it's kind of a small sample size. It's just me, right? So it's hard to say whether or not the extractors have problems, but I do want to let you guys know that it did happen for me. Now, that being said, I have a lot of faith in the current extractor that's in there, but a short-barreled 308 is going to be really hard on an extractor. So that's something to think about, and maybe an extra part that you might want to get your hands on. So what I would recommend is before trusting this gun, specifically, maybe go ahead and run about 300, 400, 500 rounds through it, see how everything's holding up, make sure that it's good to go. So again, this current extractor has been fine, but my first extractor did break in the first 90 rounds. Again, it is what it is. Just want to be honest with you guys. All right, besides that, I've had no malfunctions. And again, it was really easy to replace that extractor. All right, moving back. Trigger. Okay, so the trigger is kind of a hard one here because you guys can't be here feeling that trigger with me. I wish that you could. I wish you could be here and we could kind of do the whole thing from Ghost, where like the pottery, except the trigger pull, but like my finger over yours and we pull it together. Not possible, so we're gonna have to suffice with you pretending to be here. So it's about an 8-pound pull. It's nice, smooth, crisp wall, and then you're going to have that release. Good. Now, once you've broken the trigger and the gun cycles, and when you release it, that reset is super short, super crisp, super positive return. It's a short pull. So again, it is a short pull. It is crisp, it is smooth, however, it is heavy at around 8 pounds. The return, the reset is nice as well. So I am a fan of it. I do think it could be better. It's obviously not as good as a mil-spec AR trigger, or especially getting into nice triggers like the Gh3 trigger and that type of thing. And I hate to compare it straight to an AR, but a lot of triggers nowadays are using trigger designs similar to AR. So because of that, it's going to be a comparison, and especially because there are other .308 battle rifles and pistols out there that are going to be competing directly with the FAL, such as the Scar H. So when it comes to that, the Scar H is undoubtedly a better design. People are going to get mad at me for that, but let me say my piece. The Scar H is or Scar 17 for the civilian version, is a lighter system by around a pound and a half or so. It is a shorter system by about 3 or so inches or so, and besides that, it has a much smoother recoil impulse. Now, of course, I haven't played with a Scar 17 or H that has an 11-inch barrel. The ones that I've played with are typically around 13.7 or so. So I do admit wholeheartedly that there likely is going to be a difference in recoil pattern, but even a full-size Scar 17 compared to a full-size FAL, the Scar 17 does have a lighter recoil impulse, so let that be said. Now, of course, the Scar 17, if you were to buy it, is going to cost another $1,000 on top of what this would cost. So this is around $2,000. Scar 17 is around $3,000 plus. On top of that, if you wanted to make it in a short-barreled configuration and that type of thing, you're looking to spend at least another, I don't know, at least $300, $400, $500 or so to get all the machining done and all that kind of stuff. So you're looking at quite a bit more than this OSW. So again, it depends on how much you're willing to spend, because I think that this is a really fine weapon system. Just I don't want to tell you guys that this is the best .308 battle rifle or battle pistol out there and that type of thing, because it's not. There are better designs, but for the price, I think this is pretty good. All right, so moving from the trigger, sorry, a little aside there. Moving from the trigger, let's talk about the safety. So the safety is good, actuates well. I do wish it would be similar, of course, to an AR safety, and again, that is my bias coming through on that type of thing, but it is wholly adequate. The grip is where I really wish there would be a little bit more improvement. You can buy different grips with a more shallow angle, because this current saw style grip, it works, but there are better grips on the market currently, so you can buy a more shallow angle on it and that type of thing, and that does help, and I probably will do that in the future as I kind of get this rifle set up, and especially as I get this thing set up as an SBR once that finally clears. So grip, not my favorite, but again, everybody's bodies are a little bit different, so it might work really well for you. Who knows? All right, moving back from there, we have the sights really quick. So the sights are low, and that works. They're wholly adequate. There are 2 aperture sizes, and they work quite well. I find that they're fairly good for their intended purposes, but of course, adding an optic is always probably something that you want to do here. Okay. Sling swivel. So this has a rear sling swivel right here. You can see it. So the problem with that is that when I've used it on my current setup as a 2-point configuration, it always ends up getting in the way and pulling across where my cheek wants to go. So I ended up not really liking it that much. I'm sure that's going to be dependent on the type of sling that you have and a lot of other factors such as how you're built, but it never really worked well for me, so I just ended up running my sling off of the pistol brace right here. So again, everybody's going to be different, but wanted to throw that out there for you guys. The folding mechanism is pretty cool if you need to get this thing smaller to pack it away, if you're using it as a truck gun or you have it in your pack or something like that. That is a cool feature, and that's one thing that I've liked quite a bit about this particular design. Obviously, the pistol brace kit is fine, no problems there. Pick whatever pistol brace works best for you. I picked this one, but any of them will work pretty well. As far as the fit and finish go on this gun, very well. So this gun is Duracoated. Now, Duracoat's not my favorite. I do prefer Cerakote personally. But that being said, it has held up fairly well. There's definitely some wear on certain parts of the gun, but I believe that you'd likely get that wear with any type of finish that you did. So the finish is good to go, and I have not had any problems specific to the finish on this gun. Okay, a couple quick notes here, because I know you guys are going to ask, how do I have my FAL set up? So let's talk about it here for a second. So first off, at the very front, I have a Surefire Scout, one of the 600 series. I have that on a Midwest Industries mount, which I'm a huge fan of. From there, I have that mounted to a cloud defensive pressure pad switch, so that screws directly into the rail system. That way that pressure pad's not going to go anywhere. On the left side, I have a CQD sling mount, and I have that mounted with one of the wire slings from Vickers, from Blue Forest Gear / Larry Vickers. Moving from there, I have the Larry Vickers Blue Forest Gear padded sling and that type of thing. Big fan of it. I know I gave Larry Vickers a hard time, but I love his sling designs. Moving back, I have that just mounted directly into the pistol brace right here. Now, as far as my optic is concerned, I am using the Trijicon RMR. Now, Trijicon RMR is mounted to a Midwest Industries low RMR mount. Now, compared to a lot of the other RMR mounts out there, this one is just slightly lower. And the reason I wanted that so low is look at the height of the pistol brace right here. You can see how low your eyes already are. So any type of height with any type of optic is going to give you like a neck weld to see through that optic. So I wanted to get these as low as possible. So with the optic at the height it is right here, it's around a lower 1/3. Which is perfect for what I like. So if you're trying to mount like a RMR, like an aim point with like a lower 1/3 or an absolute, you're gonna be like super off your weapon. So the solution to that is of course to add some type of cheek brace or something like that, or you can get a stock that works. Some people have made dedicated stock adapters that run the ACR stock, and that would solve that problem. But because I have not SBR'd this yet and I do not have that paperwork cleared, I cannot do that. Now, once I do, I will do an updated setup video on this particular pistol / rifle once it clears. So that is my particular setup. A couple things that I want to talk about now that we've kind of talked about the gun overall is why would you choose a short barreled 308? Because you're losing a lot of velocity going down from like 18, 16 inches all the way down to 11, right? Same thing with 5.56. These rounds were not designed to be fired from barrels this short. So what is the effect on terminal ballistics and that type of stuff? And so I'll be the first to readily admit that I am not a terminal ballistic expert or anything like that. Sure, I've done a lot of research and a lot of experience on that type of thing, but it's not my expertise. So I'm hesitant to say too much, but what I will say is that with the 308 on an 11-inch barrel, you're dropping down to around 2,300 feet per second, depending on the ammunition used, plus or minus. My surplus ammunition chronographed a little bit over 2,300 feet per second. That's firing a 150 grain projectile. That puts us, energy-wise, at around the AKM, like a 7.62x39, and around the Magnum category. So if I were to take an AKM with a 16.3-inch barrel and just super load that thing super hot, that would be approximately the energy that I'm getting out of this gun. So you might say that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but there are a couple other things to consider because there's a lot more to ballistics than just kinetic energy and that type of thing. A heavier projectile is going to be better at defeating certain barriers. So I'm not here to tell you that this is the gun for you or anything like that, and especially if you're using this for duty use or considering that, I would do a lot of research before I did anything. But there's little doubt in my mind that a 150 grain projectile traveling at 2,300 feet per second is very effective at getting through certain types of barriers that other lighter calibers would have some trouble getting through. So there is a purpose to the OSW. So guys, if you're looking for something for fun, competition use, that type of thing, OSW is a sick little gun to get. I would definitely recommend it. It's super fun. Now, if you're looking for something for duty, that's harder because I did have the broken extractor, and I know that might not be fair, but I would heavily look at the SCAR 17/SCAR H in the CQC configuration before I considered the FAL. And that's not because this isn't a great pistol/rifle and all that type of stuff, but rather because I think that there are some really good advancements that have been made since this gun's inception and since it was made. So consider your alternatives, consider what you can afford and that type of thing. If not, maybe take a harder look at 5.56 and think of what of the parameters that you're going to be using your duty rifles in. All right, guys, those are my thoughts on the SA58 OSW from DS Arms. Sick little gun. It's going to make you look cool, but of course you won't look cool without training. So make sure that you guys get out there, get some training. I'd highly recommend Cogworks, Bear Solutions, or Esoteric. Cogworks and Bear Solutions, full disclosure, good buddies of mine. I also work with them at Gray Hive. So if you don't want to work with somebody because I might have personal connections there, Esoteric, great guys, will teach you a whole lot. If you can't get to those guys, look around, try to find somebody who's vetted. Ask me on my Instagram. Totally happy to do that. Guys, stay tuned for next week. We're definitely going to be having more on the FAL in the future. So appreciate you guys watching. And no matter what, stay looking cool. And that's all I got for you. Don't forget to eat fats, guys. You do need fats in your diet. So healthy fats, salmon oil, things like avocados, that type of thing. Don't neglect them from your diet, otherwise you're gonna have some problems because a lot of the precursors to certain hormones in your bodies are made with those fats and that cholesterol and that type of thing. So high protein, good, high carb, good, but no fat. You're not gonna get skinny doing that stuff. You need to eat fat to get skinny. So the good fats, make sure you get them. Appreciate you guys. Take care. Love you guys.